to present Jodi Livon.
I was just on Twin Cities Live, and they do something called a bump. And it's right before you go on, and it's in this ugly room called the green room. It's a great room, but it's not very pretty. And I never know what to do except for this. And then I come out, and everybody's cracking up. And I guess it's like, nobody does that anymore. But I bet people here do this, right? Because this is like, we need this more now. Okay, Michelle, I forgot my cheaters in my purse. My cheaters. So, interesting, very interesting subject matter to go on today. Yeah, thank you. She looks like my assistant, but it's my closest friend. Kind of the same thing. So, wow, you guys look different. I think I'm just going to look at the paper when I have those on. So I love speaking here. The energy here is so amazing. And it's the building and it's all of you that just make it up, because you come here to be moved in a very different way than originally the church was, but still moved back then too. But there's a lightness about it. There's a heaviness in a way because there's old energy, but yet it's good energy. And then you guys come, and it lifts, and it lifts, and it lifts. So it's congratulations to all of you, because it's really amazing. I love this, and I always tweet about it. You know what tweeting is? I tweet about it because I think it's such an amazing place, and every time I send a tweet out, that energy goes out too, so that's really fun. All right, so if you've heard me before, then you know that I start out looking at this, my paper, because I have some things I really want to impart that I didn't particularly write, but I feel like it's very apropos for tonight or for today, but then I won't be standing here the whole time, so don't worry. And if I do start looking at you and you feel intimidated, don't. Because I don't just see spirits as a medium, I see your spirit. So when I zoom in on you, I'm seeing your spirit, and I can tell you it's wonderful. It's always wonderful. It's my favorite part of my work, is connecting with people and their spirit. Okay, can you hear me? Yeah. Do you like my pink cheaters? Yeah. Growing up, I loved the song Age of Aquarius by the Fifth Dimension. Do you guys remember the words? I'm not going to sing it, so don't worry. When the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, then peace will guide the planets and love will steer the stars. So I remember feeling captivated by the group, the Fifth Dimension, by the name of it. Their songs carried this big essence. And I remember being in the back seat of my mom's, I think it was a Fairmount, I don't remember for sure, but it might have been, with my sisters, and I could hear the song playing, and it was humming along. And I didn't know then that it was making me feel better, but I was really drawn to it. What I didn't know is that the Fifth Dimension, literally, is one of universal love. So they really picked a great title for their band, didn't they? I also didn't know that my life's work would be to showcase the intuitive process, thereby showing people how to connect with other people, how to connect spirit to spirit. I didn't know that back then, that I would be teaching this, but I was certainly drawn to the energy of others that were teaching it. When I do a reading, I have to raise my vibration, and I am floating in the energy of pure love, like the energy in this room. That's how I'm able to access the information I'm accessing, because love and intuition are born of the same source. Creativity, love, intuition, inspiration, it's all a part of being in a higher level of understanding, of higher consciousness. And the more aware we are of that understanding, the more we're lifted. The more our awareness goes up, the more we can connect with people, the more creative we are, the more intuitive we are. So that, to me, is living multidimensionally. I was living in my own little universe as a little kid, and so were you, by the way, and so are you still. I remember hiding under my bed many times because I felt a spirit, and at that point I was seeing spirits too. And my parents would come, I was like 2 or 3, to get me out from under my bed, and they couldn't see anything. And I knew they were frustrated. I could feel it. I took it as them being angry at me, because of course you can feel that and you don't know what it is. It doesn't feel good. But they just couldn't see it. They were living in their own universe, in their own dimension, but I was sort of hovering between two and didn't know it. Wouldn't that have been hilarious if my dad, who would have been the last person to say it, "Oh, honey, you're just hovering between the third and fourth dimension." Maybe in another universe. Now he'd say it, he's dead. So now he'd say it to me. So there is I love surfing the internet. It's exactly like being intuitive and going to source and kind of surfing source for information, only you can actually print it. So I did. And the person that I really am going to be quoting for just a couple of minutes is Suzanne Carroll, and it's SuzanCarroll, because I don't want anybody to think I wrote this part, because this person went through a lot of trouble to do this. And her website is Multidimensions website. And if you speak Spanish, good, because a lot of it's in Spanish, and I don't, so there's a translation. Multidimensional consciousness is the capability to be conscious of more than one dimension at a time. That at a time is I added. Dimensions are a means of organizing different planes of existence according to their vibratory rate. Consciousness represents awareness. The inhabitants of each dimension function clearly, easily, and with a minimum of resistance within that plane because their consciousness vibrates in resonance with the frequency of that dimension. So when you do well with certain people, you are also going, your consciousness is radiating at a similar frequency. All of you here have a similar frequency. Maybe not exact, but a similar frequency. Love this. I just love this. There are 5 dimensions, fifth dimension. All 5 dimensions exist within our portion of and emanate from our third dimensional body, says Suzanne Carroll. So we're really a container that we fill with our own multi-dimensional universe. So when Gary sent me the subject for today, because of course I take it and I run with it and I inject me into it, my intuition, but there were so many things to choose from. I was like, what if I'm not on his page? Then I'll be standing up here and I'll feel it, because he'll feel it, so then I'll feel it. So I wanted to make sure, because there's so many directions to go, and you have no idea how happy I was when he wasn't expecting me to explain all 5 dimensions, or I should go like this, explain all 5. I was like, whew. So I'm talking about how living multidimensionally works for me as a medium and how I see it working for you, and already is working for you, as everything positive is. But when you talk about it, it ignites it even more. So you're happier, which makes you more intuitive. Can you guys hear me? Are the earrings in the way? Yeah. They are. Gosh, they're so pretty. Make sure everybody sees them. Because, they'll feel sad otherwise. I do not want to see these in your ears. Okay, you can wear them. You can wear them. Clean them first, though. We share this kind of germ thing. So I love tools and techniques that can help me raise my vibrations. So I write about it in my Happy Medium books because, you can want to be in a happier space, you can hope to be in a happier space, but you can feel stuck and you don't even know it. So there's certain things that you can turn to, like you open up a book, like mine or someone else's, and wherever you open up, there's a reason you're opening up to that. But you can also page through one of my books or somebody else's to read something to yourself that's going to ignite your own light, right? So we're going to do that right now. So if you could uncross your legs, feet flat on the ground. If you feel comfortable, close your eyes. So sit with your spine straight and legs and arms uncrossed. Gently close your eyes and listen to the sound of your breath as you slowly inhale and exhale 3 times through your nose. If you have a cold and you can't through your nose, that's okay. Feel the rise and fall of your belly as you take another breath. And relax into yourself as you exhale. Notice how your body feels as the flow of energy moves through you. Just give yourself a minute to just breathe in and out and listen to it. Take another deep breath, and as you do, move your feet slowly back and forth 3 times on the ground. Up and down. Feel the energy from the earth move up. This beautiful iridescent light move up, in and through you as you do. Now imagine that beautiful iridescent light, white light, floating up from the core of the earth, filling your lungs, floating sweetly through your entire body. Listen to the soft sound of your breath as you exhale and inhale. And on the next inhale, say your full name to yourself and notice the sensation of lightness as you exhale. Okay, you can open your eyes. Does the room look a little different? Isn't that cool? So we are all connected one to the other. We are all the spark of light from the spark of sparks, from the light of lights, also known as God, universe, source, lots of different names for that beautiful ball of energy that is our home. And we are actually source experiencing itself. See, you guys know this. I'll go to a different audience and they look at me like, what are you talking about? Put your earrings back on. But then they get there. They really do. We are our own little universe. So everything is energy. We've talked about this before. I'm sure other people here have talked about this before. Your thoughts are energy. Where you're sitting is energy. The last conversation you had is energy. Your whole body is energy. It's all energy. And you carry that with you. Not only do you carry this energy with you now, but you carry the energy of who you were in past lives. You carry the energy, most of all, of who you were as in infancy, up through your whole childhood, up to right now. You're all those things. That's multidimensionally too. You're living all those things. But most of all, most powerfully, you're living right now, in this moment. And this moment is energy, and you decide what that means for you and how you want that to be. Because we're all made of pure energy. And you might think, mine's not so pure. But everybody has a bad thought, a bad day, a bad year. Some people would even say a bad life. I would say you're living in a dark energy. Pull yourself out of it by just thinking of something that makes you feel good. And then if you find yourself going back to those old thoughts, that's all right. We're all into routine, right? We live by routine. You just retrain yourself to start feeling better and thinking kinder thoughts and doing kinder things. This is also living multidimensionally. My ability to see spirit energy, as I mentioned before, is within my own personal universe. Now, if I take it to the next level, excuse me, when your loved one in spirit wants to connect with you, they do that through love. I always picture it as a slide because they have to come down. Their consciousness has to come down. And for you to connect with that, your consciousness needs to go up, just like what we're doing right now. Yours goes up. And if you're feeling joyful, happy, or just relaxed, there's more of a chance that you can connect with that energy, because that's how you kind of do the dance of connecting with their energy, which is in another dimension, right? So I used to physically see these dimensions and vortexes. It was a little too much. So I asked for it to be different. So if you are connecting with spirit energy, but it's too loud for you, and you can't hear as much as you want because it's kind of overwhelming, you literally just picture dialing it down slightly so you can have more of the good stuff, because you're actually here to have the good stuff. So you just ask, hey universe, hey source, whatever name fits for you. God, this is too much for me. I would like you to dial it down for me, please. Happens. Absolutely happens. And if you start to feel overwhelmed, then you do that exercise I just did or something like it, where you just picture yourself covered in white light and you're safe. You're always safe, but that helps you ignite that safety. So I, when I do a reading, need to raise my vibration. When I'm raised in that vibration, I am very connected to how much I love this world, everybody I'm connecting with, my clients. And that connection gives me more energy and gives me more light. And then I'm able to see not just spirits, but everything else that I'm supposed to be connecting with. This is a lovely way to go through your life. So this would mean to keep it, like I can't be that high and be walking around all the time because I'm picking up too much. I dial it down a little bit. But I keep it raised by doing things like, okay, you're going to laugh, but you know when you're in a store and you think you want something and you decide you don't, and you don't really want to walk to, over here to put it back, so you just put it wherever you're supposed to? For me, because I've been in retail, I don't typically do that. I'll go walk it back, and my children, eyes rolling, I'll have to do the same thing. Because someone needs to take care of that, and it's our responsibility. So I know if I take care of myself and how that feels for me, I'm actually keeping my vibe up. You might not have that same thing. It might not bother you, and that's fine. But certain things do, and to pay attention to that. To start paying attention to the thought process you're having. Because those thoughts are energy and they rule you. So you want to start writing something different. You're the playwright of your own life. So you start writing a different dialogue for yourself. So let's say my kid grabs something and I don't know where it goes and we're late. And I want to go put it back because we're not going to buy it. And I don't know where it goes. I say to myself, I don't know where this goes. I usually put it back. Somebody's going to put it back. We're not buying it. We're not stealing it. We're just moving on. And I don't take that energy of, oh my gosh, look what I just did. I just think to myself, I'm going to do it next time. Or how about when you guys recycle? I'm sure you do. When you can't find something to put it in, and you feel so, I feel so bad when I throw it away. So I was just in California, and I spent a lot of time picking up straws on the ocean, by the ocean. Because apparently, I used to notice them, but now I'm really noticing them. That helped me feel better about not being able to throw my plastic container in a recycle bin. So that helps my energy. If you pay attention to things that make you feel good all of the time, your energy goes up and you make a difference in this world. So anybody here ever in a group picture? How about with kids? And you're supposed to look at the camera. You have to look at the camera. But nobody's looking at the camera because they're saying, Jerry, look at the camera. Or, Cole, look at the camera. But if you concentrate on looking at the camera and smiling and not looking around you, and everybody's doing that also, you're going to get a great picture. And if you don't, someone's crying in the corner doing something else, just adds more dimension to the picture. But you have only to take care of your own energy that way. You have only to take care of yourself. You're not responsible for everybody else. And as much as we want to help people, because I feel like donating and volunteering actually raises our vibe, it's a wonderful thing if you are in that space, or perhaps you need to be donated to be accepting of that. But when we do that, when we watch our own energy and keep our thoughts, we're conscious of our thoughts, we're participating in lifting the vibe in the world. And that also is living multidimensionally, because you're aware of the energy of everything you're doing and what the differences it makes in your own life and someone else's. So it's not that somebody walked up to me at the beach and said, oh, you must be Jodi Livon. You're on that local show in Minneapolis. Actually, somebody did, but nevertheless, you're picking up straws. That's awesome. Because I'm not looking for somebody to say something to me. I'm looking for me to feel good about it, because it felt good to me. And that is what makes me light up, right? And I'm responsible only for me lighting up. My kids didn't think it was really a lot of fun to pick up straws. I made them do it anyway. But they will eventually. They didn't have to do it the whole day, but it felt good. So I consistently do things that lift me up. I'm listening to my thoughts to make sure that they're not too wretched. So, because I've got the same thing everybody else does, that voice that says you're doing this, or you're doing that, or why did you do this? It doesn't really work for anybody. So then I just say to myself, okay, I must have been feeling kind of sad at that moment, and I'm all right now. I'm going to rewrite what I'm thinking. I'm going to say, I did a great job, or that was a nice exchange, or it's okay that I didn't go say hello to somebody because I'm feeling a little low and I don't want to meld energy with anybody because I'm feeling a little low. That's all okay. But I pay attention to how I feel because, like I said, your thought is energy. But the other thing is your feelings are the wings of your intuition. Like when you pay attention to how you feel and you clear out some of the nasty stuff that you're saying to yourself, you're more open to your insights. You're happier, so you're more open to your insights. And so as you vibrate out a better vibe, a happier vibe, that comes right back to you. And again, to me, when I watch somebody on television or a movie or read a book and the person that is the author or the person on television is radiating at a higher vibe, I resonate with that, and it's like drum beats, like it just keeps building and it's better and it's better. So why not go toward that? So in my mind, if I'm going to turn the television on and watch the news, I don't do that right before I go to bed because I know that's a very powerful time and I don't want to relive and bring in some of the darker things that might be on the news, even though I do need to know what's going on in the world for self-protection and to help raise the vibe about it. I'll say to myself, well, I know my friend is on the news or my friend is doing the news, but right now I'm not going to listen to that because I'm going to bed. I'm going to go read something that lifts me up, like affirmations or an email that somebody sent me that was really sweet, or just something, or a little video of my kids when they were really little. Like it's a good thing to do if you have teenagers because it reminds you a little bit. I mean, my kids are hilarious right now. 2 are teens, 1 just turned 20, but I do need to be reminded. So I rewrite it by thinking something positive instead of saying to myself, "Oh no, my friend I know is doing the news." I say, and I'll watch it tomorrow, or I'll watch it next time. So I'm rewriting it in my head, which lifts my vibe. Which to me, the more I do that, the more I'm in the groove of that, the happier I am, the more I give out something very pleasant to everybody else too, right? So not only can you connect with spirit when you're in that space, but you connect with the higher part of everybody else. You radiate yourself into that space, just like I said, by paying attention to how you feel. So when you care more about how you're feeling than what you're wearing, what you're tweeting, what you're driving, what you're eating, but because you want to feel good, that's a way to radiate up. It doesn't mean it's not important what you're driving or eating. All of that's great because it's representing part of you, but it's really important that you feel good about it. So do you remember when you guys had to all go to some big family gathering? You didn't really want to go, but you went because you were supposed to when you were younger. You found something fun to do at that event. Be that now. Be that now. If you have to do something for work that you're not really hip on doing, find something fun about doing it and enjoy it. Again, this is how we radiate up. This is how we feel better. So my feelings are never usually small. They're big, because I'm a medium. Wait, did I make that noise? No. Because I'm a medium, I know I radiate it out. So when I'm not in a good space, I actually am very careful to not be around people because bad stuff happens. Like, I come against the meanest people everywhere I go when I'm in that space because like attracts like. So I kind of rewrite it for myself by sticking at home or being quiet or putting out a bubble that says, it's not you, it's me. And then I think that's funny, and that radiates me up. So you have to think it's okay that you get stuck and you're not in a great space. That's natural. But then what are you going to do to get yourself out of it? Or what if you're in just a dark space, you know something's going on that's not going to please you, you lose somebody on some level. You're moving and you don't want to move, or it's overwhelming, or you're changing jobs and it's a great thing, but it's a little scary. You just tell yourself a different story about what it means. And if you're not feeling great about it, then you have a day of just not feeling great about it and say, this is just my day of not feeling great about it. The best thing to do is humor. Just humor. So I remember something happened many years ago, and I was with a group of people at work, and it was probably something sad. No, it was a 35W bridge. And I was with one of my favorite people in the universe, my Auntie Pam, and there are people who know her. And I started feeling so awful about that whole thing and connecting with all of that. And I made jokes to myself, like, good thing I'm not wearing mascara, because it's one thing to feel awful, it's another to really scare people with a face full of that. And I just tried to make it as okay as it possibly could be, because you have to go through it. But then you get to the other side of it and you don't have to wear it. So as a medium that feels things so big, I know that when I come here, if you're not in a good mood and I connect with that, I might take it personally. Then I say to myself, I'm just taking that personally. It has nothing to do with me. Right? Do you guys ever do that? But what about the times where you're caught in it? If that person's open to it, then you say, I think I'm taking on what's not mine. Are you irritated with me? And if they're not floating in a higher dimension, and they say, well, it is, it probably isn't. Even if you've done something that's really upsetting, you didn't do it on purpose, they have to kind of be honest with you so you can work it out. And if they're not in a space that you can say it, then say it to yourself. Get that dialogue going, write your own story in a way that makes you feel really good. So I know what it's like to feel really down and stay there, and I know what it's like to convince myself to come back up. Best thing to do is to not allow yourself to go there. To just say, I'm actually not going to allow myself to go there. And to bring yourself back up by doing kind things. By just going out and smiling at a stranger. Telling somebody you think their shirt is beautiful. Hugging somebody that you see on the street that you can feel, like, that you know, because you don't want to just accost somebody that doesn't go over real well. But let's say you know them, and you see them, and you know that there's a loneliness about them. Go hug them. So I just was at my daughter's dance competition, and my husband and I came in a few minutes late on purpose, but we didn't miss anything. And we're looking at these sea of people, where we should sit. And some of our friends were going, come sit here. And there's another group of our friends, and I could tell one of these people was really hurting. And my automatic response was to go sit next to her, which was a good thing, because there were things that our exchanges helped lift her. And I could do that because I was all right, and I felt good. But afterwards, I thought, I love that my energy didn't take that on. I just love it, and that I could watch the dances and the too loud music and the amazing dancers, because they are amazing, and the light that happens when people dance is unbelievable. So what I do as a medium and as a psychic is, let's say I'm walking next to somebody and I can start to feel their vibe. If I'm going to open up to connect, I surround myself with that white light, and then I say, you usually avoid change, but change is coming and it's good, and it's going to be wonderful. Right? And I say to someone like you, you're a very private person, you can't believe I'm doing this, but here I am, and it's on film. And the more you open up and not take personally your own, what you would call mistakes, the more it won't matter. Does that make sense to you? I'm a little psychic. Now I'm walking through, I've never done this here, by the way. I'm walking through and some people are going, please don't read me, but tell me something, but please don't read me, but please don't read me, but tell me something, like you, who's probably going to come up to me later. And then I can also stand next to somebody here who's got so much light radiating that it's just fun to just stand there, right? But when we're really young to this whole process, we'd want to jump in her lap, because that's a bad boundary, right? But you want to stand next to it so you can absorb it. But people are going to do that to you too. They're going to want to feel your energy. So radiate something amazing. Why not radiate something amazing? You're going to go through big change, really good one. P.S. I'm coming through here too. Do you guys have questions? Anybody have a question? I know you do. Oh, sorry, whoops.
Got to get you recorded, Rhonda.
I would like to know how you can open yourself up to be more. I mean, I keep asking for more to, just
More light, more insight?
More light, more insight, more
Awesome
connection.
question. So I believe you start out in that exercise that I just did. You just listen to yourself breathe, and you imagine that you've got this beautiful white light surrounding you. Because as you open up, you actually open up to lots of different energy. Some energy is higher and lighter than others, and you don't really want to pick up on the dark energy. So you raise your vibration, because like attracts like. And you do the breathing exercise I just said, and you start looking for things that please you everywhere you go. Seriously. It makes you feel good. When you feel good, you go up. And then you notice a little teeny thing, like a little insight. Like, oop, that lady looks like she might slip on on the ice. I'm hoping she doesn't. And then she slips a little and she holds herself up. Then you say, I picked up on that because I read the signs that were there and I picked up on it. That's awesome. Or you knew somebody was going to call your son or somebody that you loved that hadn't reached out for a long time. You just congratulate yourself. You don't have to put it on, Facebook, because that brings a whole different energy. You can do that after you've done it for a while. Does that make sense? So I like that you asked that, because a lot of times we want something so much we can't see what's in front of us. A lot of people say, oh, my loved one has not reached out, and that love from the other side, and that loved one's reached out. But you're trying so hard you can't see it. So not to sound like I'm trying to sell something, because there's a lot of these, but I have my smaller Happy Medium book, the Speaking the Language. I have a whole bunch of different exercises. Okay, we don't like that word. Tools, techniques, that will actually, just reading it will lift you up. You find something easy like that you can refer to in your mind, and it lifts you up. That's all it is. A lot of people think there's this big equation that you have to, that's great to be able to meditate and do all that, and meditation is actually wonderful. But really, it's all about how you feel. If you feel good, really, that lifts you up. If you feel good because you just squished an ant family, that's not the kind of good I'm talking about. I mean the good that doesn't hurt anything. And when I say go in the direction of things that bring you joy, because that's going to lift you up, if you're supposed to go do something for somebody and you don't think it's going to bring you joy, but you promised, how much joy are you really going to feel if you don't do it? So think in that way. You're going to feel joy if you do it and just be done with it, right? Is there another question? Oh, wait. Hold, please.
Our house has been for sale for quite a while, and we are getting really super, super anxious to do whatever we can do to get a buyer. We think we've done everything, but what else can we do?
Okay, I love this question, and I was actually going to blog about this because it's coming on spring. A lot of people are selling their homes. So here's what a really awesome thing to do is clear as much of your stuff out as you can, even if you put it in storage, so your energy is out, so somebody else's energy can move in.
We've
right?
done that.
Right?
It's pretty
Hold,
empty.
please. And when you've done that, make sure it really smells fresh, not like some icky thing you plug in the wall, but something very natural, like real air. Open a window. You can sage if you want. Do you guys see me spraying in here? Because that lifts more energy, because the energy is too heavy. That's what you want to do, is get rid of your energy and your, oh my God, it's not selling energy. You want to say, well, of course it's going to sell. Of course somebody's going to buy it. Then you go through every single room in your house, and you remember something wonderful that's happened in it, and you thank the room. You may cry. And then you go, I just got the chills. This is totally what you need to be doing. Then you go through the next room, and the next room, and the next room. And it doesn't have to be lengthy, and it can be. You just keep going through the rooms. And then let the universe do what it's supposed to do. Listen to your real estate agent if you have one, because they're going to give you clues about things you might need to do that you might not want to do, but it will help the house sell. And say to the universe, I've loved this space. It's meant so much. I'm ready to let it go, have somebody else enjoy it. And just be confident that it will happen, because it will sell, right? It will sell. I want to make sure I'm getting like the whole room. This gentleman back here.
Hi, I'm just curious, when you're, like as you're walking through this space, do you hear voices? Do you see visuals? Or how does that awareness come
So you know
to
our five senses? Isn't that interesting, you guys, how many times 5 repeats? Our 5 senses are sight, taste, sound, all of that. So that is how your insights come to you. And whatever, if you have an amazing sense of taste or smell, your insights are going to start to come to you through that. I'm loaded with all of them. Like I call them the clairs, clairvoyance. I hear things, I smell things, I see things, I feel things, I taste things, all of it. But I have had to learn to dial it down, because it can be so overwhelming. But it's not overwhelming if I just say, I'm only going to pay attention to what's in front of me. And I make this joke, and with all respect, I probably do have ADD, but it is like ADD for mediums, where all that stuff comes all so hot right at you. You have to say, okay, I can do really only 3 things at a time. And I'm going to pay attention to 1 at a time. And then there's the spirit energy. Did you guys see me spraying before we started? Because last time there was one that kept jumping in me when I was here last time. I don't want that right now. That's not my thing. With all due respect, this is my space. And I want to keep my space clean and healthy so I can do what I'm meant to be doing. Otherwise, I get tired and ill. Does that make sense? So let's say I'm walking by and I'm feeling you're somebody's spirit around this nice lady, and I'm feeling something about you. If I go into it, then it starts to be a part of my own energy, and it can bring me down, not because of what's happening for that person, but because it's not mine. If I'm here to give a message and do something like that, then it'll bring me back up, but I have to make sure I let it go, which can be tough. So I'm an intuitive coach. I work with people personally, I'm one-on-one, and I do it in groups, and I'm a corporate psychic, and there's a lot of things that I pick up on that can be very devastating to hear. Parents that have lost their children, many things. And I have to learn how to say, that's not mine. I have to learn how to consciously cut that. Even though I love that person, because I love my clients so much, that's their stuff, it's not mine. I can't help if I'm always in their energy. It's not mine, I can't fix it. You can't lose weight for someone else, right? Make sense? Let's see. Hold, please. She had her hand up before, but I'll come to you.
I'm nervous, but
I'm not. You wanna stand next
Sometimes
to me?
with being in prayer and meditation or doing some visualizations, I can sense dimensions that I'm curious about when you talked about just the 5, because sometimes I feel like I'm picking up on more,
Yes.
like whales and dolphins or ascended masters, et cetera, et cetera. So would you say those are still 5th, or would they be what dimensions?
No, there's
9th, 10th?
7th keeps coming to me when you say that. But here's what I want to say about this. It's fun when we pick up on all these things. It's totally fun. Here, I'll just take this and give it to the next person that has a question, unless you want to do this. I just like holding the microphone too. It's one thing to say, I love picking up on all these things. It makes me feel important. And let's face it, it's fun. Like you feel like, okay, I'm more connected. That gives me a good feeling. And that's what you've done, which is good. But now you say to yourself, only the things that are going to serve me and serve the higher good. I don't want the rest of it. But you're still dangling in between because it validates you in some way. So there's some way in your life that you are looking for validation, and that's awesome. That's awesome. So ask for the universe for different kind of validation, not about the spiritual piece, but just different validation, and that way you'll be happier to let the stuff go that's floating in. You might like that energy, but you want to dial into it deliberately.
I feel like I do, though, because I do feel like I'm...
I feel like you do, and there's a lot more that just comes piling in, but because you are so perceptive, you're not even recognizing that you still have 4 radios going. With all of the things that come to you, because you've done so much work to calm it, used to be maybe 12. But you say to yourself, I'm going to even bring it in more. So what I'm picking up on, I can understand it and do something with. Because you are picking up on those dimensions and it's great, but what is it going to help you with? So that's the big piece. People always say to me, are you reading my mind? Do you read somebody before you hire them? What do you do? And I'm like, no, because that's not really serving the greater good. I don't want to play the lottery. Is that what it is? Playing the lottery? Is that the right way to say it? I don't want that money like that. That doesn't make any sense to me. I want what I can handle at the time. And so that's what I'm saying to you. Yes, you have the capability to pick up on all that, but dial it in and go, I want to get the goodies, and if I have 4 radios on at a time, I'm not getting as many goodies. I just want 1 or 2. Does that make sense to you?
Well, part of the thing is, though, when I feel connected to that, I'm doing work that does feel good, and I'm visualizing things for healing for the planet or connecting in with that for that purpose.
But it's also coming to you, which is wonderful that you're doing that, to give you something yourself, for you also. So when you quiet the radio down, you're going to get the message from that. That's the bigger thing. What's your question?
My question is about sending or energy, positive energy. For example, my friend Kathy recently lost her mom, and sometimes when we're texting, I can feel her sadness, and I don't know, can you just imagine sending her light? And
So it's an awesome question. There's so many ways I want to go through this with you. First of all, you having compassion makes you feel not as alone, right? But you can send light. If she needs it at the time, she'll take it, and understand that. Okay. So like if somebody's hungry and you want to give them a cookie, and you're like, I know you're hungry, little boy screaming in the airplane, let me give you a cookie, but the little boy doesn't want the cookie, and you find out later he has celiac disease. Okay. But you wanted to give him a cookie, So then you say to yourself, I'm going to put the cookie out there, and if they want it, that's great. Because part of what's happening is you want so much to help. It's all good. Your energy's all good about it. So that's what you put out. Whatever goodness I have this ball right here of goodness, I want to give that to her. And sometimes just listening and having your presence is all she needs. Because you have to go through that grief. It's gross. I mean, my mom died last January. It was like, really? I have to go through all of these motions? And you just have to allow yourself to go in it. Because you want her awesome energy back to connect with. And she's going to come back even stronger. So you say, this is her grief. I love her. I'm sending this good energy exactly like you are. But when you're done talking to her, no offense, you say, that's hers. I don't want it anymore. And that's the piece you could do even better. Just say, that's all her stuff, and I love her, and I'm leaving her with some of this love. But I'm cutting that connection right now to that because it's not my grief, and I'm not serving by taking it. Because you take it on because you love people so much, but it's not yours. We all do that. We all take stuff on. I think there was somebody over here with a question. Did somebody back here raise their hand? I thought I saw somebody. Oh, lady in the back in the red, in the very back.
I'm curious what your advice would be for dealing with an individual who exudes negative energy, such as a mother, who really cannot be ignored because she requires care, and don't know if it's possible to cut a mother off in terms of negative energy?
Yes.
So just wondering how that's done.
Okay, so we, in our country, I don't think we're awesome at taking care of our elderly. Would you agree? So our generation, everybody here, I'm still getting the chills. There are people here that really need to hear this. We're doing better, right? We're doing so much better. So first of all, to congratulate us that we're taking care of, because that is a sacred responsibility, and it is sacred. You say to yourself, I'm making sure that this lady has enough food, that her health she's being taken care of that way, she's in a warm place, that all of those needs are being met. And I'm going to designate this much time every day or every week or whatever it is to make sure of that. And then I'm going to imagine that there's this little cord between us, and I'm going to cut that, because that's her stuff and her thing, and she needs that for whatever it is. I don't know. I'd like to judge it because, but that's what she needs. I'm going to back away from it so I don't take it on. And then when I go again to go check on things, we can be connected, but I'm going to cut that when I'm done, because your spirit is always connected. When you cut a cord, you guys know what cords are? You're not cutting your positive connection. You're cutting that agreement you have that says you're supposed to live in the sludge. When somebody's really negative, this is hilarious to me, because some of the most high beings that I've ever met can come across as the most miserable. Really, because this life, that's what they're experiencing. And then I just say, that's their stuff. I would like to judge it because, sometimes we do. But I'm not. And it's her stuff. And I actually feel bad that she's spinning in that energy, but that's her thing. And I'm not going to spin in it. Does that make sense? So you take care of it, and then you walk away from it.
And you just psychologically cut it or spiritually.
So when you do something spiritually, you're doing it psychologically as well. So what you do is you literally imagine that you can see this cord, and you imagine the most gorgeous scissors that you've ever seen. I like to put little crystals on mine when I imagine it, but you do your own thing. And you literally imagine that it opens up, and with your energy, you're cutting it. And then any negativity goes right back into the core of the earth and recycles itself into something beautiful. Her energy stays with her, your energy stays with you, clean break. So I recommend this if you've gone through a divorce, some sort of a breakup, a different job, even a house. So you're trying to sell your house. My nose itches when spirits are talking to me, so there's a lot of spirits talking to me. So when you're moving through and you're changing, you're moving from an apartment, you're moving from a house, you want to take that energy and thank it for all the goodness and then cut it. So you are open to the good things that are coming to you, and someone else can take that apartment and make it the most beautiful place for them as well. There's a positive way to do almost anything, but you want to write your own script. This is why I'm doing the story of your soul, because this is how I pull myself out of not feeling so great, is I tell myself a different story. So I was on Twin Cities Live Friday, And I never really know for sure how the segment goes till I watch it. And then I post it, and it's really fun. People say different things about it, and I'm showcasing the intuitive process, right? The link wasn't posted. I didn't get to see it. And then I started saying, well, maybe I'm not supposed to. Maybe it wasn't very good. Like, I'm thinking this, and I'm like, no, it's always good. It's always fun. It's always great. The energy there is so amazing. And I just said, I'm rewriting it. I haven't seen it because it's not time for me to see it. Somebody else needs to see it. When I post it, that's what's going to happen. And then I ask friends that watched it, or they'll just bring it to me. I rewrote it in my head because otherwise I go kind of down that rabbit hole. But then I start rewriting it in my head and pull myself back up. So imagine, when you see an airplane down, 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 you're pulling it back up. You're pulling the energy back up. So this is a good thing for you to do as you move through your life, is just rewrite that story all the time. Just keep telling yourself something more positive, something more positive, something more positive. I'm on your energy. So being alone, doing your own thing and being independent gives you energy, and it's a good thing. And there's nothing wrong with it. When you're making your own decisions or doing your own inner project, it's a good thing for you. So your inner dialogue is very healthy, but a lot of times we say to ourselves, well, I feel like I'm so independent in thinking this one thing. It's all right. If you're doing something and you're the only one that sees the magnificence in it, that's fine. It's all right, right? Can anybody go to a movie by themselves? Right? How about eat by yourself in a restaurant? I can't do that. Because that brings in the whole I'm in 5th grade walking through and nobody wants to sit with me thing. And I know that. So I'll say to myself, if I have to eat, look at that, I'm bringing my little 5th grader with me. But it's all right for me to know that and do it if I need to, because that's what I'm supposed to be doing right now. But normally I want to go do something that makes me feel good, but I'm doing this right now because I need to. You tell yourself a whole different story. But if you can sit in a movie by yourself, you realize that you are in a movie. That's what this life is. And even if you're sitting with somebody, you're by yourself. But everybody in your life is meant to be in your life. They're all part of it, and you're doing it because it's bringing you joy, and it's interesting, and you're learning it. You're learning from it. Those are the reasons that you are doing what you're doing. Oh.
Last question. Who do you want, Jodi?
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Raise your hands again. The lady right here.
I think you smell really good. What are you wearing?
What is it I wear?
Is it you? Somebody
yes,
smells
it's just
really
me.
Good. My real question is, I was at one of your events, and dead people were coming through for a woman, but yet she was denying it, and you were giving her all this evidence, and so it reminded me of my siblings. So I wonder why, even when all the evidence is there, like, it would be so easy for them to accept it and believe it, but why do they not believe it?
So people can only accept what they can use at the moment. It's like a really awesome cream for really dry, cracked skin, and you can put the cream on, but it's only going to go in as far as they can accept it. So them hearing that at the moment was what they needed, and then not accepting it, and I hope I stayed out of that negative not accepting it. Other people in the room needed to hear it too, but they couldn't handle any more than they had. And 10 to 1, they emailed me later and said, oh, guess what? That was all true. But when I do a reading and I'm connecting with somebody and I know what I'm seeing, I've been doing this for over 30 years, started as a teen. I know when I'm on, right? And I know when it feels like maybe I'm a little half-centered, but I know when I'm on. People don't want to have it right away, a lot. They want to wait till they can process it right in privacy, and that's all right. I'm just here to give the information. So that's my way of staying in my own space, because believe me, I've taken stuff like that personally. But I've just learned it's theirs. And the other thing I've learned is, in my field, I don't want to work harder than you. If I'm giving you a bunch of information and you're not having it, there's part of me, I'm kind of admitting this, and I know it's being filmed, that in some of my energy is like, really? Well, to you. Here it is, do with it what you will. And I've had to say that to people. Here it is, do with it what you will. Your brother, he said his name starts with a G. It's George. I don't care if he spelled it with a J. Is telling you, thanks for chipping his tooth. Do you think I'm making that up? Right? But then I realized that this person could only take what she could take. It's all about her. It has nothing to do with me. I just am here to do my job, to take care of the straws if I want to be in my own energy and to lift my own personal universe as high as I can, to start looking at the camera and smiling, because that's the best I can do, and knowing that that little piece actually does a lot. I'm staying in my own space with it, I'm telling myself a better story about it, and it feels really good, and that's what I'm here for. I'm here to feel good, and so are you. Despite the sad things that go on, our natural place is to feel good. And in that place, we're more insightful, we're more loving, we're more multidimensional, and we just have more fun, right? Thank you.
You're the center person.
Ready?
Jodi, yes.
Can you hear me? Wouldn't it have been funny if I started singing to that and then like floating up into the ethers? That's what the story I was telling myself was. It felt so good. So in that vein, imagine that the spark that you are, how it connected with everyone in this room, and how powerful that spark is, and that you have only to remember it, to take it through your day, every single day. And as you close your eyes and imagine that beautiful bright light coming up in and through you, hugging every organ, kissing every cell, know that your memory of anything good is a blessing, and that you are a blessing into this world, and everything you give comes back, and every piece of love comes back 1,000 times, and you are an amazing, amazing group of people. Thank you for having me.